Hello, my name is Kathleen Lisson and welcome to today's yoga practice for massage therapy students. So let's start with an exercise that will help us kind of get into the groove for today's yoga practice. So if you feel like you've been going in a million different directions, your brain is just a hive of thoughts, I'll invite you to take your arms and just kind of shake them out for the next 30 seconds. Get that movement out of the body and kind of regulate the nervous system by getting some of that movement. And then if you're exactly the opposite and you're like, Kathleen, I've barely, I'm like a sloth. Everything I do seems to take like 10 million times as long as it should. I'm just not getting anywhere really fast today, but I still came to get on the mat with you. First of all, thank you so much for joining me on the mat. And then I'll have you take your arms, place them on the opposite shoulders, and pat that left shoulder with that right hand and that right shoulder with that left hand. And slowly take the next couple breaths to look around the room at different things in the room. Slowly, gently notice colors. Kind of bring yourself into the room here. Okay, so we'll do that for one more breath. Either you're shaking or you're tapping and looking. And then I'll have us go ahead and sit down on the ground in easy pose, just whatever pose you feel that you can be alert yet relaxed, with the head over the heart and the heart over the pelvis. And we'll start with some 4, 7, 8 breathing. We'll only do it 3 times, so I'll keep track of it. Basically, we're going to inhale for 4, hold for 7, and exhale for 8. So inhale for 4, hold for 7, and exhale for 8. Inhale for 4, hold for 7, and exhale for 8. Inhale for 4, hold for 7, and exhale for 8. Kind of return to your normal breathing, and then I'll invite you to put your hands over your heart and take a few deeper breaths and set an intention for today's practice. What do you want to bring to the mat, learn on the mat today, and what do you want to bring from this practice into the rest of your day? And then I'll have you put your hands back on your knees, and on the next inhale, I'll invite you to begin taking 3 ohms with me. So you can put your hands to your heart if you'd like. Inhale. Om. And then I'll have you put your hands back down on your knees. And then on your next inhale, I'll invite you to raise your hands over your head. And exhale, put the right hand alongside of us, and then the left hand up and over. This side bend is opening the side of our waist. We'll stay here for 2 more breaths. then on an inhale, raise your hand up over your head. And on that exhale, side bend to the left. The left hand by the side, the right hand is up and over, stretching out that left side body. Stay here for 2 more breaths. Then on the next inhale, hands up overhead, and then we'll move into the twist on the right side, that left hand on the right knee, the right hand behind you, feeling the twist of that spine. And we'll stay here for 2 more breaths. And as you exhale, lifting the hands with the inhale back to the sky. On that next exhale, we'll twist over to the left. Right hand on the left knee, left hand behind us. Feeling that twist from the base of the spine to the tip of the head. We'll hold here for 2 more breaths. And on the inhale, hands up to the sky, and then exhale the hands in front of us, and we'll do wrist rotations. Our wrists are one of our most precious resources as massage therapists. Go ahead and rotate the other way, so let's get them warm before we do our yoga. And then go ahead and put the hands on the shoulders and do some shoulder rolls. A few times in one direction, a few times in the other direction. And then let that go and do some neck rolls. A few times in one direction and turning the other direction. Warming up the joints of the body as we prepare to do more yoga. And then let that go. And then take the right finger and put it in front of us and train your eyes on that fingertip as we make a large 8. And we're tracing the 8 on the outside of how far our eyes can see without moving our head. So we're really looking into our peripheral vision. Go one more time here. And then the finger goes back to the nose as we take the vision all the way to the nose and then replace it with the left finger. Left finger goes out in front of us. So last time we went up and to the right. So now we're going to go down and to the left. And we're tracing, trying not to move the head, just moving the eyes. Tracing it out to the edges of our peripheral vision. Okay, and when you feel it's even, go ahead and place the finger back on the nose, following it right back to the nose. Wonderful. So now I'll move into the tabletop position. So I'll invite you to join me here. Your wrists are going to be stacked underneath your shoulders. Your knees are stacked underneath your knees are stacked underneath your hips. And then I'll have you lift up the wrists a little bit, so we're putting most of our weight on the knuckles and the fingers, and then slowly lower the wrists. And lift and lower the wrists a little bit, training our body to hold the weight that we're putting into the upper body on the whole hand and not just dumping it on that wrist joint. And we can also play around with this crease of our inner elbow is facing the front of the mat, so a little bit of an external rotation of the arms. And that's really going to help us to effectively put weight into our upper body. And then I'll have us go into a cat-cow. So it's a spinal flexion and extension. So as we flex the spine, we lift the spine up, curling, exhaling. And as we inhale, we lift the chin, lift the heart, inhale, and then exhale, cat-cow position. So take a few cat-cows, feeling the movement of the spine in today's practice as we are on the mat today. And then one more each side. And then coming back to stillness, we'll start with a hip rotation. So go ahead and rotate the hips out, first in one direction and then in the other direction, switching it around. And then bring that back, and left hip rotation. Warming up the hips. First rotating in one direction and then the other. Okay. And then we're going to go ahead and stretch the feet out to the back. The right one, then the left one into a plank position. And then walk the feet up into our first standing forward bend of the practice. So we can play around with weight shifts a little bit here, weight shifting, pouring the weight from one foot into the other is a valuable tool for us to have as massage therapists, so play a little bit with it here. Also stretching, you can pedal the feet. This is our first big stretch of the back body. The head can hang heavy, the hands can hang here. And then lift up slowly, one vertebrae at a time, up to standing, and lift the hands up into even a tiny back bend. And then place the hands by the sides into mountain pose. And then take the hands to the knees and go in first the counterclockwise direction and then a clockwise direction. We're rotating this knee joint, bringing some warmth to the knees, and then letting that go, standing up, and then doing some hip rotations, first in one direction and then in the other. Getting ready for doing 2 sets of Surya namaskar. Okay, so bring that back to stillness, and then we'll go through the first Surya namaskar a little bit slower and then a little bit faster in the second. So we'll start with our hands placed in prayer position over our sternum and exhale. And then inhale, hands to the sky. Feel that stretch, maybe even a little bit of a back bend. Exhale, hands to the ground, forward fold. Inhale, and the right foot goes back into a lunge. Little runner's lunge on the left. And then exhale, that left foot goes back. Inhale and feel the lunge here. And then exhale, the knees, the chest, and the chin to the ground. Inhale, and the feet press, tops of the feet press in the ground, lift up into cobra pose. And then exhale, curl those toes under, hips to the sky, downward facing dog. Inhale, the right foot up into 3-legged dog, and then exhale the right foot in between the hands into this lunge again. Inhale the left foot to the hands, and then exhale into this forward bend. Inhale, hands to the sky, and then exhale into mountain pose. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, and then exhale, hands to the chest. Inhale, hands overhead. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, left foot goes back. Exhale, right foot goes back. Inhale into this lunge. Exhale, knees, chest, and chin to the ground. Feet, tops of the feet to the ground, up into the cobra pose. And then toes curl under, hips go up and back. downward facing dog. Lift that left foot up into three-legged dog, and then bring the left foot to meet the hands in an exhale. Inhale the right foot up, and then exhale into this forward fold. Inhale the hands up to the sky, and then exhale to mountain pose. So that's one complete Surya namaskar. We'll move into our second and final one. Exhale, hands to the chest in prayer pose. Inhale, hands to the sky. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale the right foot back. Exhale the left foot back. Inhale into the plank pose. Exhale, knees, chest, and chin to the ground. Inhale into cobra pose. Exhale into downward facing dog. Inhale the right foot up into three-legged dog. Exhale in between the hands. Inhale that left foot to join the right foot. Exhale into that forward fold. Inhale, hands to the sky. Exhale to mountain pose. Inhale, exhale, heart, hands to heart center. Inhale, hands to the ceiling. Exhale into the forward fold. Inhale, left foot goes back. Exhale, right foot goes back. Inhale into this plank. Exhale, knees, chest, and chin to the ground. Inhale into cobra. And exhale into down dog. Inhale the right foot up. Exhale, the right foot goes in between the hands. Inhale, the left foot comes to join it. Exhale into this forward fold. Inhale, hands up to the sky. And then exhale back into mountain pose. Letting this beautiful set of postures go. We'll move into a lunge and crescent pose series of postures. So I'll go ahead and invite you to inhale, hands up to the sky. Exhale into a forward lunge, forward fold. Inhale the right foot back into a lunge. And then think of pressing both thighs towards the midline, working from our core, from our belly button. With our core muscles, we're inhaling the hands up to the sky into a crescent lunge. And we'll hold here for 3 breaths. Exhale the hands to the feet. Inhale that back foot back into the lunge. Exhale, knees, chest, and chin to the ground. Inhale into cobra pose. Exhale into down dog. And then inhale the left foot forward. Exhale the right foot forward. Inhale, hands up to the sky. And then exhale to mountain pose. Inhale, hands up to the sky. Exhale to forward fold. Inhale that left foot back into that runner's lunge. Think of that hugging the thighs towards the midline, moving up from the core. Lift the hands up on an inhale, crescent lunge. We'll stay here for 2 breaths. And then exhale, hands to the ground. Inhale the right foot back. Exhale, knees, chest, and chin to the ground. Inhale into cobra pose. Exhale into downward facing dog. Inhale that left foot up, and then exhale the right foot joins it. And then lift up into a mountain pose. Wonderful. Now we'll move into warrior three, some balance poses that we've built this warmth in our system. I'll invite you to play with that weight shifts. So shifting the weight into the right foot and then lifting the weight into the center and pouring it into that left foot. And the left foot holding most of the weight. I'll have you go ahead and lift that right foot up until the knee is at chest height. And once the knee is at chest height, we'll take the hands into prayer pose and we'll move the front, the top body, the top of our body to the front and then kicking the bottom of the body back, kicking that heel back, moving our torso in the front, feeling the balance of warrior three. We'll stay here for 2 breaths. And then bringing the position back, that knee comes back up to waist height, and then gently placing it down. And then taking all the weight that was in the right side of the body, pouring it in, from the left side, pouring it into the right side, and easily, effortlessly, with no weight, lifting that left foot up until the knee is at waist height. And then we're going to push the torso forward at the same time as that foot goes back, that heel goes back. Warrior three. Hold here for 2 breaths. And then smoothly coming out of it, bending the knee, bringing it back up to the waist height, and then gently back down to the ground. And then I'll have you release that prayer pose, hands to the side in mountain pose, and take a moment here to remember the intention that we set at the beginning of this practice. What got you onto the mat? What are you getting from this practice? And what are you going to bring forward into the rest of your day? Now I'll have you come and sit with me in easy seated pose. And we're going to start some more breath work, and this one is called Cyclic Sighing. It's also a similar practice is also called physiologic sighing. So you can stay here in cross-legged pose, or you can lie down in Savasana. And the breathing pose, we're going to do it for 4 minutes, and it's going to be taking a deep inhale through the nose if possible, and then a little extra inhale on top of that. So 2 breaths, 1 big one just to top it off, and then an exhale, a slow exhale. So inhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, inhale, exhale. So do this at your own speed, at your own body, with your own set of lungs today. And we're just, our goal for this is not for you to over breathe. It's to just get these full, deep, nourishing breaths in, this cyclic sighing. So I'll go ahead and keep the time. Inhale, inhale, exhale. Inhale, inhale, exhale. You can continue breathing. It's normal to feel tingling in the body at this point. We'll continue it for just another minute. Inhale, inhale, and exhale. Inhale, inhale, and exhale. We'll do it 2 more times. Inhale, inhale, and exhale. Inhale, inhale, and exhale. Sliding your legs over to the left and then seating back, rolling back down onto your back. Legs stretching long, releasing your body to the back into Savasana. Letting the breathing slow. Feeling the effects of the yoga postures and the breath work on our body. Taking a few final breaths here in Savasana. And then wiggling our toes and fingers. Taking a few deeper breaths. Slowly rolling over to one side. Lifting up again into cross-legged pose. Taking a moment here to place your heart, your hands on your heart once again. And call to mind again the intention that we set at the beginning of this practice. What did we want to bring to this practice? What have we learned from this practice? And what will we take with this practice off of the mat with us until the rest of our day? Moving the hands into prayer pose, tipping the chin down. One big final breath. And so it is. I'll invite you as we transition out of this yoga practice to take a drink of water from your water bottle, to take your yoga journal and journal your thoughts, journal anything that comes to mind from this yoga practice, anything you have gratitude for in the day. And I hope you you take the peace and the wisdom that we learned on the mat today out into the world with us. Thank you so much.